The Rise of Africa, the continent, the diaspora, and BRICS explores the relationships that are affecting the global economy right now. This book explores the relationships of the African diaspora's influence on the African continent and why this is important in stabilizing relationships with an understanding of how BRICS impacts the future, good or bad. You can order your copy of The Rise of Africa today on Amazon.com. Neo-diplomacy is the new currency. Neo-diplomacy is the new currency. The reason that I can say that is you have a couple of different factors occurring right now as we speak on the world stage. The dollar is being disrupted. Nations are no longer wanting to engage with the United States. But the third factor that affects each and every one of us is that there is a diaspora from the African continent that's willing and able to engage our brothers and sisters on the continent. Okay. Shalom. Salama. Siami Shalom. Greetings to all my Israelite brothers and sisters from around the world, whether you are of the bloodline of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, the house of Israel, or you're a Gentile grafted into the house under the blood of Yahushua HaMashiach. I welcome you this morning. Well, other than the fact of a supposed peace deal, I'm not buying it. Supposedly, there's a deal that's going on, and to me, I believe that this is kind of the same old, same old. Hey, let's not risk the ire of the world market in this, because again, both sides, they can look at both sides. Hey, you responded to the nonsense. Talking about Iran and the U.S. obviously causing the nonsense. I really do believe, though, that at the end of the day, this coordination is always going to be orchestrated by China. That's just me. And several other East Asian nations. Because there are different pain points that are occurring throughout this global disruption. And that's what it is. It's a global market destruction. And I do have to say, yeah, currency manipulation is the order of the day. As I see some of you all's comments in here, that yeah, it's gonna be a fake pause restart, because even with the whole like pause and things of that nature, they were going a bit too hard, and basically, I would say more so the Europeans and the Chinese were saying, "Hey, cut it on out." Look, the Most High is going to have these folks fight. Don't get it twisted. It's a gradual buildup, because the reality is, all throughout war, so World War One and World War Two, vastly different. You didn't have a lot of information flow, not like you have right now. You can get on a satellite, you can upload something, download something, you can get on fiber optic, you can get on your cell phones. So there is a lot more communications that you have this go around than you actually have in the than you had in the past. So all these peripheral devices and everything else, and with that, because of the information and the understanding of the information, now on the scene is obviously AI, because AI is to, in my opinion, AI is to limit information. Shout out to brother Yakoba. You keep what you kill. But we've always said that this was always a death culture. We're just seeing the death culture at its final throes. At the end of every empire, there is political instability. That political instability is brought about because of a loss of resources. These loss of resources, they're seeing it every day on the continent. Yes, yeah, we are the Furians. We are. I pray that our people understand that. A people prophesied to rule. We don't go along to get along. That's our people. We never go along to get along. We'll say, I see a problem with that. I think this. Look. Do you know we don't take dog whistles very well? And that was one of my an issue. Hey, you need to read the room. Why? Because you're not really understanding the wickedness that we're trying to set up. You're not understanding the cunningness, the trap, the deception. Oh, oops. Oh, that's what it was. I just thought that y'all were trying to operate in good faith. Why? Because we let our yays be yays and our nays be nays. See, they try to say that we're Bible believing, we're Christians, or this, we're that, but they can never practice what they preach. That's why when people say that and see this, it's like it's dead. You don't just have a dead culture, you now have a dead religion. And now you're starting to understand, the Europeans are seeing that, all of this altruistic stuff that we've been pushing and have pushed to the continent, because on the continent they have that picture of Cesar Borgia up there on all those little auto buses and on a lot of the cars and the windows plastered on in there. Jesus rides with me. Wait, how can these people that made themselves the likeness of the tribe of Judah, that made themselves a likeness of Yasharel of Israel, but now we have Gentiles actually coming out and actually saying, yeah, here's the history. And the reality is all they're doing is regurgitating the same stuff that we've been saying for the last 5, 6, 7 years. I've been out to that place called the Middle East plenty of times. And in that area of arid desert, I was scrolling through some pictures with my on the phone with my son Saturday night, and he was showing me some of the pictures I had, and I had a picture while I was over by the Jordan River, quote unquote. The real name is Yarmouk. When you're there on the ground in that area, they actually give you the real names. Heliopolis, other names. It was always a transitory area. Transitory. Keyword, transitory. That's why that area was known as the Transjordan. To do what? To go across the Assyrian or the Syrian desert to get over to Petra, get down to Petra, get down to Riyadh, get over to the Gulf. That's the land routes. Get over to UAE and other places there in Felix, Arabia. And you don't have a population. You don't even have much vegetation. Let's just be honest. They don't. Even when I got there, I was kind of like, oh, this is what they call the Holy Land. I don't know. it's like, I wasn't really convinced. For me, it wasn't convincing. Like, how does that get sustained? And then you fly over that piece of land. It's like you're literally flying over North Jersey. Like, for real. You fly over and it's like 15 minutes later. No, you're literally in Jordan in 15 minutes. Huh? Please make way for our like, as soon as you're in the Mediterranean, they have you sitting down and you're just doing your flights, and obviously you're closing off your shades and everything else because they don't want you taking a look at everything there in that Eastern Mediterranean nation. I always had my shade up just so I could see like what was so special. It wasn't anything all that special. To me, it was like going to Phoenix or Las Vegas, but you're off of the Mediterranean Sea. Okay. Well, once we commit all the genocide, and once we get all these pesky people, Grecians, which is what they are. They're Grecians. I'm sorry. You can get mad. You can get angry. They'll let you know, even in their DNA, their European ancestry. And then they'll say, oh, yeah, we're all related. Oh, of course you are. Greek, Alexander the Great, Seleucid Empire. You go, it's on and on and on. Why was Paul saying, look, everybody was Greek? And then you had Romans. Romans were what? Different than the Greeks. They were all Greeks. Only people that weren't Greeks were the Ethiopians all of a sudden. And you even have mention of it. Everybody was an Ethiopian. Hey, they're black. Well, what type of Ethiopian? Oh well, they follow. They're Israelites. They follow the Elohim, the God of Jacob. They're kind of an unusual people. They used to be big, but then they got scattered. And they're doing the same things over and over again. And when this tactic has been employed for a better, I would say better than 2,000 years, this is a 2,000-year-old tactic. Why do you think this is now at a stalemate between Iran and the United States? What I would argue, in my opinion, this is just my argument, my opinion, is that you have a class, or excuse me, a not just a clash of civilizations, but a clash of the ends of the expanse of the Greek Empire. You know how they always have Indo-Europeans and Indo, right? That's the Caucasus. This is the Caucasus. This is just geographics. And now America is the western expanse across the sea. And guess what? They're all fighting each other. One expanse is dominated by desert to cross to get access to that area. If that area was so accessible, why not? Why are they not just rolling through the desert? Because a lot of people don't tell you that when you roll through the deserts like that, those convoys are all out in the open. You are susceptible to them bandits coming up over those red dune mountains. Where you're just driving hours and hours and hours and hours. Sorry, I'm having nostalgia and flashbacks. You have separation by land, and then one you have separation by sea. And now what has happened is that there has been an issue that has occurred because the control of oil, it's like living in an episode of Dune. Whoever controls the spice. No, they're trying to control the oil because that's the blood, that's the lifeline. Why not? Control the blood, control that lifeline. Why not? But what ended up happening was in the quest to save the dying kingdom, they declared war on the whole world via Iran. And now, what is happening is that there's pressure not just from, I wouldn't say the pressure was necessarily on Iran, but I believe the pressure was really on the United States. Because what was going to end up happening was, I believe, in my opinion, what was probably going to end up happening, especially as, don't get it twisted, the U.S. blew up some a couple of Indian vessels or Indian flagged vessels, killing three Indian citizens. A lot of people were getting sick of the actual, of the game. Okay, we'll play this game, we'll play along until it really starts to hurt us. And they were getting hurt economically. That's one. Don't get it twisted. This thing was, people weren't trying to play the game anymore. They weren't trying to live in the Willy Wonka chocolate factory. Because you want to know why? Because they don't even have access to chocolate like that anymore. Go ahead and watch Willy Wonka again. What was the secret to making chocolate? That dude actually tells you that in the movie. The Gene Wilder's character, he actually says it in the movie. I went to an island and I was able to find the secrets of chocolate. Yeah, because that island was there, located about, I think they said about 2 hours away, south of Ghana. They brought back the cocoa pods, the cocoa seeds, and now that's all throughout West Africa. Man, who'd you think the Oompa Loompas were? Those were black folks. Stop playing. What would you do? Singing and dancing as they're making chocolate. Do you now get that everything that they do is to mess with you? They sure don't grow chocolate like that. They sure don't have the cocoa pods like that in abundance anywhere else in the world. Yeah, I'm just reading a comment from Mick Jagger. It says, work at Cargo on the East chocolate stockpiled. Chocolate don't expire. They control the price, Cargo, and own a lot of farms. Well, chocolate does actually come from Africa, the continent. Now you can get the byproducts, the core root, the extract out, absolutely. And what ends up happening is that actually no, well, chocolate doesn't expire like that. It doesn't. So you're right. You're right. However, there is chocolate that can go. It, they'll say it never goes bad, but it'll go past a certain point. I don't know. Look, they here's the thing. Here's the thing. You know, they may say that they have it under control here in the West. Okay, let's just say that here in the West. That's fair. Over in Africa, no, they actually don't. And that's what Africa was doing. They were making sure because that's what they have for their boards, their Ghana chocolate board and their gold board, their cocoa board and gold board. Yeah, yeah, they just remelted. Yeah, that's what I was getting ready to say. Yeah. They'll remelt it. They also have byproducts of it to go into your liquors and everything else. You'll have chocolate liqueurs and all that other stuff. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Saw it on PBS. Yeah, chocolate does come from Africa, and that's where a lot of this is heading because this isn't just to. I can go through here and give you articles after articles after articles. Look, what do you think is going to happen? The U.S. has to have a decisive victory in Iran because if not, they've already cooked themselves. They're cooked. They've cooked themselves. They went through and they destabilized. They did it. The whole world. These economies aren't going to recover. When this recovery is going to happen, or they say that they're going to try to happen, what's going to end up happening? Well, we have a little bit of a liquidity issue. Well, where did that liquidity go? Everybody's trying to run to SpaceX. To do space explorations. Look, I'm telling y'all the blueprint. They're trying to do space exploration, quote unquote. How are you going to do that when the Most High said that this is a firmament? What are they trying to do? Augmented reality. Think about this. And the saddest thing is that, people are so gullible. If you know that you cannot go anywhere, if you know that you're now in a technology where they're trying to upload your digital double. And now they're coming on out and they're saying, "Hey, we can send you to outer space." No, 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 they're not. What are they trying to do? They're trying to get you into that death cult. Except this time, that underverse, yeah, it's the underverse, all right. You got programmed into the machine, except the human carcass, the carcasses that are there that bio waste. Oh, I don't think y'all hear me. Biofuels, bio waste. Why is that? Because you're not going to get access to real food. I signed up for the space program. Awesome. Yeah, I can't wait. I'm sorry that this is a once in a lifetime opportunity. Oh, yeah, it's a lifetime. We'll still be able to communicate on the intergalactic Zoom. Do do you remember when you were 5 and this and that and that and this? Yeah, I remember. I remember. Yeah, that was on video. I remember that was recorded on audio. I remember. What do you think they're now able to do? Digitally download and index your life. So then, whatever they're talking to in that AI virtual, or excuse me, that AI interface, look at this world of imagination. Oh, I can't hear you. I think that's some electromagnetic interference from the sun. You can't make this up. Why? Because this is the end of an empire. Your lives have to be the boldest and the boldest and the boldest. Because why? Because they don't have a relationship with anybody. Remember, I said neo diplomacy is the new currency because it actually is. Relationships are currency. You don't have currency with non relationships. You don't have currency when you're just single-handedly going through and bombing people. That's actually how you destroy currency. And is this currency not being destroyed? It's being devalued. It is going to be devalued at a point that they're going to have the CBDC so then they can turn off your money or say, hey, sorry, you're not able to access your dollars. You're not able to access your wealth if you try to leave the United States. Why is that? Oh, well, it's this, and this, some regulations. Why? They destroyed currency. That's when you'll start to realize the US dollar is for certain people and not for all. This isn't a conspiracy theory. Oh, let's take you down the conspiracy theory. It's not. This is the culmination of reality because, as the word says, there's nothing new under the sun. Everything that's going on, it's been done before. Get your one-way ticket. Oh well, they're expanding it to common folks. Yeah, we're gonna try a pilot program. When you are in a dying country, we're not even going to call it economy, it's country. When you're in a dying country, you have to have population control on a massive scale. A massive scale. Because what ends up happening is this. All right. There's a psychology behind all this, and it's not just really psychology. It's really a spiritual, it's a spiritual dynamic. I take out everybody else so I can survive. What is it? Acceptable levels of population. As long as you're gone, I can survive. I can't survive if you're here. I can't survive if you're here and your family's here. I can't. Do you see? These things that are happening is purely in the construct that as the lack of access to those resources begin to show and begin to be experienced at a larger scale, and people are saying, well, you want to know what? I went to the grocery store and I really couldn't find this product or this product or this product. It said it was out, thanks for the sorry for the inconvenience. The shelf spaces are not stocking the products that I used to have, the materials, the goods. Then people start to question, how healthy is this economy really? Maybe I'm being lied to. Maybe we're being lied to. Maybe. Because at the end of the day, what people want to have, they want to have, people would rather have comfort in the lie. Does that make sense? Look, they don't care. They'd rather have comfort in the lie. Everything is fine, everything is good, and then you'll hear, and then there is the planes flying over, the drones flying over, the rockets flying over. Everything was fine and everything was good up until that's why when I hear these types of deals and things of that nature, I am actually not just skepticism, but to me, it's what is being planned in the background, because now, look, don't get this thing twisted. Everything's a coordinated effort. They're going to make a deal. They got to make the deal. They got to make the deal. Why do they have to make the deal? Well, like we said, see, if this was a fake story, I believe if this was not coordinated, or, if this was kind of just a humdrum, whatever story, oil executives are sounding the alarm over dwindling stockpiles. Even if the Strait of Hormuz reopens, it would likely take months for the U.S. to replenish its deleted oil inventories, keeping prices elevated. So this is an article by Colin Eaton, Benoit Morin, Michael R. Gordon, and this was as of yesterday, June 14th, 8 p.m. Yeah, barrels of crude oil in U.S. Strategic Petroleum Reserve. And look at that. Look at this. 25. It crossed under the 400 million mark. It's on its way down to about three. And do you see how precipitous this is? It's precipitous. That means it's such a deep trend. You can tell, see, this was around the COVID slash era slash um, war in Ukraine, and it's continuing to fall. It climbed a little bit, then it's continuing to fall. If it falls at this precipitous rate, see that 200 million? That precipitous rate, if it continues to fall in these next couple of years, which it will be, don't get it twisted, it's going to. A population cannot be sustained. Yes, the U.S. makes oil. Yes, the U.S. will export oil, but that doesn't mean that the U.S. can actually use its own oil. They have to get things online, and that costs money and resources. Keep that in mind, and resources that the U.S. may not have access to anymore as it once had. There's a lot of different changes going on in this global economy. President Trump's deal with Iran is set to reopen the Strait of Hormuz, but how quickly it can arrest a steep decline in oil stockpiles will determine the trajectory of energy prices in the coming weeks. For more than 15 weeks, the U.S. and other countries have around the world have had to dip into oil tanks, salt caverns, and strategic reserves to make up for the millions of barrels of oil trapped behind the strait. I see. I told you. They tell on themselves. Look at that. U.S. and other countries. What are those other countries doing? They're lobbying and they're telling the U.S. if you don't do this, we're gonna probably look. We're gonna don't think invading you is not off the table. So while you have a Eastern Mediterranean nation still going through and doing tactics of crimes against humanity, you have these other countries saying you better do something or you don't have to worry about the U.S. instituting regime change. We'll come and do it for you. Don't get it twisted. I was explaining that to you all. Everybody thinks, oh, the U.S. cannot be, it will never be invaded. No, they'll do it under a political guise, political ease. They'll get some. They will find folks to rally up the cause. Hey, you're in action. You're in play. We need to now come through with peacekeepers. We need look. How quickly do you think? Look, it's all coordinated. Hey, you do this. You mess this on up. We'll do this. Don't overextend your part. You know what part you need to play. Don't do it. Don't overextend it. This is really the game. Let me continue this articles in the Wall Street Journal. Now the stocks are nearing critical levels, and energy executives say without an influx of more oil, prices will have to surge to stop the run on supplies. Here's the thing, like I had stated, the U.S. is at all right. The reason, and I stated this last year, right? They stopped reporting numbers as of October, November of 2025 in terms of different reports. We're talking about literally Bureau of Labor and Statistics and other things because they can't tell people how bad it really is. Because if people actually knew how bad it really was, especially in this society, in this generation, um, that would give pause for concern with. Actually, let me just be blunt. The only time them folk fight, they don't fight for social causes. They don't fight for social justice. They don't fight for any of that. You know when they fight? They fight when their economic livelihoods are under threat. That's when they fight. So, if you're showing them the actual real raw numbers and data, guess what these folks will do? They'll show up, they'll roll up, and they'll roll up with their weapons. They've done that before during this time in this administration. I can't find a job. I'm hurting. I'm suffering. I'm feeling like a black man or a black woman here in the United States. I got to fight to get my country back, and that starts with me. Help me heal my country because I'm getting poor. I'm not getting rich. Now that they have chosen to have people that do not fight for them, have people that don't care about them, are not in their best interests. And you know what the funny thing was? This is the most hilarious thing. Trump weaponized their white supremacy right in front of their eyes. He did it. He did it right in front of their faces. See, that whole we would have healed Babylon, but she refused. Now nobody's going to take any balm. Nobody's going to pray for her. Nobody's going to go on out and heal her. Nope. Now we're looking at it, man. She did. Yep. When let's see what says when their pocketbooks look drained, that's when they show their violent side without restraint. Absolutely. That is absolutely the case. When our funds and our finances are drained, guess what we do? We get in that prayer closet. We go to the source and we say, Father, you know what we need before we even need it. And we trust you, Father, and we thank you. It's a different paradigm. Well, get on out there and get something done and make something. That's easy for that was always easy for them to say. They could do that when the system was made for them. Boy, you may be overly qualified, but I think I know what I can do for you, Jim Bob. I hear that. I already know. I'm not getting a job. That's their code word. That's their talk. We know their code word. Okay. Thank you. Thank you, Father, that you shut the door on me being in this or working in this society for them. Can't you save us? Why? You couldn't help us when we were asking for help. Well, I was rich. Yeah, of course you were. The reality now is, unfortunately, it's not that we've grown callous or cold. The reality is we just don't care. We've actually become more apathetic, and we've actually realized the only way that we're going to be able to survive this is we work with one another. We work with ourselves. We do for ourselves. We pull ourselves up by the bootstraps. All right. We'll start doing some work in Africa. Okay. We'll start doing this. We'll start. Okay. Oh, okay. Wait. They said that they were poor. Wait. They said that they couldn't afford it. Wait. They said that. Wait. Hold up. Yeah, we get lied to about everything. I'm gonna share this one here because I'm telling you, man, he's got that weird relationship. A dude hates Obama. Black man did something better and greater and better and best than me. Black man, I'm gonna destroy what black man did. I can just imagine his cabinet meetings. I can do better because I want to do better than the black man. All right. Obama slams Trump's Iran deal, saying it is doubtful it improves on his agreement. Former President Barack Obama revealed in an upcoming interview that he doubts any new peace deal created between the U.S. and Iran would be significantly different from the pre existing ones. This is by Athena Dawson as of yesterday, June 14th. Former President Barack Obama has weighed in on the possibility of a fresh U.S. Iran peace deal being negotiated. The former commander in chief, joined by his wife, former First Lady Michelle, spoke with Robin Roberts for ABC's Good Morning America program. In a preview clip from the interview scheduled to broadcast on Wednesday, Obama expressed skepticism that any new peace deal between the U.S. and Iran would differ much from previous agreements. It is doubtful that any agreement that arises is going to be significantly different or a significant improvement from the deal that we had in the first place and have worked for a long stretch of time before we, the United States, pulled out of it. Obama went on to say he is hopeful that the bombing stops and ordinary people are no longer suffering as a consequence of the war. And what that means is that's not going to happen. Because when people see what's being proposed and then when people start picking things apart, Well, Iran's not going to have any nuclear weapons. Iran's not going to have this. Iran's not going to have that. Oh, Iran's getting it. You know that destroys his credibility, and and you have a person, and let's just call it what it is. You have a megalo that portrays the stereotypical Wall Street person of the '80s. That '80s mentality lifestyle, you know, living in America, the Rocky years. You see what I'm saying? That's what you have. That's the dying threshold. And maybe this piece still comes because Iran probably leaked it. Like, hey, let me show you this. Turn on your sets. This Tasneem or IRIB or whomever, they may have leaked it. Look, let me show you this. Mess around with us and find out if you want to. And now here we are. You cannot make this up. The former president also warned against rushing to bully or bomb other nations rather than pursuing diplomatic solutions. Well, that's what they've done. That's what they've learned. Everything in this principality is showing itself. They're telling on themselves. You better take it or leave it. If you don't do it, you're going to perish. You see how this works? We're living at a time of the end. But I would actually say that I would argue that we're living in a time of the beginning. I want to go ahead because I think this to me is really the most important. I want to go here. Hmm. Okay. All right. I have to laugh because I want to go here. I want us to let me let me do this. Timestamp. Okay, timestamp. Now, almost about 3 weeks ago, when the Pope had said something, I said, watch. By the end of this week, I said they're going to say something, they're going to do something, they're going to mention something. Okay, let me show you this. Good. Oh goodness. This is from citynewsroom.com. This was as of May 29th, 2026. I said, let's say, watch. They're going to probably say something within a week or two. May 29th, 2026. Hallelujah. Look how the Most High is. I said, watch. They're going to announce something within about a week or two. The Pope's declaration came on, I believe it was May 25th, if I wasn't mistaken. May 25th or 26th. It was on Memorial Day. This article was published May 29th. Ghana to host reparations summit on June 17th. They already, oh my goodness. I laugh. I have to laugh. I'm sorry, family. I have to laugh. The government has announced, the government has announced that Ghana will host an international high-level conference in Ghana in June 2026 as part of a renewed global engagement on historical justice, remembrance, and the legacy of the transatlantic slave trade. The announcement was contained in a statement issued by government communications spokesperson and Minister Felix Kwakie Ofusu, which welcomed a recent apology by His Holiness Pope Leo XIV for the Holy See's role in the transatlantic slave trade. They literally had this. That's what I'm saying. This is all pre-canned. Y'all are seeing this. The Pope, in his encyclical, described slavery as a wound in Christian memory and issued an apology on behalf of the church for its complicity in the transatlantic slave trade and related symptoms of oppression. Following the Pope's apology, the government said Ghana remains committed to working with international partners, faith communities, civil society, and people of conscience to advance efforts towards historical justice, remembrance, and restoration of human dignity. Here we go. In its statement, government said Ghana remains committed to working with international partners. We went to there. In this regard, here's the meat of this here. Here's the potatoes here. In this regard, Ghana looks forward to welcoming the international community to Accra from 17th to 19th June 2026 for the high-level consultative conference being convened by His Excellency John Dramani Mahama, President of the Republic of Ghana, on the next steps following the adoption of the resolution aimed at sustaining global engagement on historical justice, remembrance, and human dignity, i.e., working towards reparations. Not just a framework, but a recruitment of funds. This is a recruitment of wealth. This is the recruitment of people. What people say was not going to ever be done is being done. The government said the apology comes at a critical moment of global reflection on slavery, colonialism, stressing that confronting historical injustices require truth telling and moral responsibility. Honest recognition of this painful history remains an essential step toward healing, reconciliation, and a more just future, the statement said. President John Dramani cited, or was also cited in the statement as viewing the development as significant in ongoing international discussions on historical accountability, i.e., money. I'm just saying. People said the Pope Neil. I think so. Look, I think the coordination's in. Yeah, look, these folks know because you got to remember, Argentina had one of the biggest genocides of our people in history. The one in the middle that you are talking about, well, guess what? They were the biggest identity thieves in history. Okay, and the U.S. obviously the biggest ones of, well, kidnap and torture of our people. Let's just be frank. When it comes to the worldwide implications of that, of why they voted against it, do you see? Do you see what's going to end up happening? Do you see what that cost is going to be? Why do you think they voted no? They knew there was a cost to that. So this is the UN. So this is the African Union's. Ghana is setting that up. In my estimation, I would imagine this. Who's holding the bag? I would imagine this. Do you think we're going to be holding the bag in our captivity? Yes or no? Do you think you're going to get paid in prison? I know this is a sensitive topic for folks. Do you think you're going to get paid in prison? But my prison is nice. My cell is nice. I can go to the grocery store. It's real nice. I can go to the movies. It's real nice. There are opportunities all around. Yeah, they're going to decorate their cell on commissary. That's right, Sydney. Man, let me have that. Let me decorate my cell, and let me make sure that I got a little bit more for the warden, because the warden's going to he's not going to be too happy about this. So let me make sure that the warden is good. That's how sick our people are. I mean, I'm sorry, but it is that, and it's sick because that's the reverse psychology. That's the psychosis. That's the game that they played on us. Now, what I believe is this is just my wholehearted opinion. I believe that going on over there with the opportunities that they have over there, there's going to be, I would say, again, this is just the discussions right now to find on out, well, who's going to be administering this? Because, in the African diaspora, we have to have a say. I'm not too confident with the way that things had gone with the sixth region, and that's just because it's the sixth region. To me, there has to be a little bit more. It's not just oversight, but an understanding with different things. Just what I was exposed to, and I'm not throwing any shade because they're everybody there is well intended. It's just things are they're not quite how I would do things. That's just how I would say it. It's not quite the way I would do it. I'll address that right now. Yeah. Yeah, France is fair weather. France knows that they've lost the power dynamic for Europe. Europe is gone. Europe is gone. So essentially, this is why you have the United States. It declared war on Europe through the sanctions, and then it actually declared war on Europe through the Strait of Hormuz. Macron and their folks, the Europeans, they're trying to get that oil. But I guarantee you what they're doing is they're not just paying Iran. I guarantee you that they're also paying the United States. So, in an effort to try to appease and to have some sort of international credibility, because they've lost that. They've lost that with their colonial satellites nations. Hey, you either get on the bandwagon or you're going to suffer. Europe has made its choice. They're not going to try to be in bed with the United States. The whore has been thrown off, and you're seeing that with the actions. You see where these beast nations are turning their attention to. Yeah, they're getting off the sinking ship. Exactly. France is a rat fleeing from the sinking ship. Yeah. Make no mistake about it. This is happening. And I know that people don't want to address it, they don't want to acknowledge it. But in 2 days, history happens. In 2 days, um, like I had said this, in less than 90 days, everything is changing. Like the world is changing in less than 90 days. That's why I said you don't know how things are going to look like by the end of this summer. Shoot, you don't know how things are going to look like by the end of this month. That's in less than 2.5 weeks. Keep in mind you, that at the end of this week is the 19th, and then we're in I think now a 3 to 4 week window. In a 3 to 4 week window, you're going to have The vote of naturalization for the 14th Amendment. What do you all understand what that means? That means that we are in a literally we would be in a gray we're in a legal gray zone. So what are we? What would we then be? Do y'all get what I'm telling you? The best way I want to say this is think about that new Planet of the Apes movie. They're going to try and be on horseback, on cars, on everything else. And we got to turn them on in. Hey, you're supposed to report. Why? Because your status is now in limbo. Listen to me. I guarantee you this. All those ICE agents that they have was to be a paramilitary force for this particular purpose. Well, I'm going to tell you this, Minister Rick. Technically speaking, as the Pope had just announced it, no, we have actually now been okay. So technically speaking, by the actual ordinance of the Pope, and they can actually quote the Pope on this now through the Magnificus Humanitas. The Pope's simple declaration actually states that we are indeed prisoners of war. As a prisoner of war, it's now a reversal as a prisoner of war. It's now you're prisoners of war. Now we have to collect you because then now you need to go back because we're holding you in a legal state. People aren't going to hear that. Yeah, I know this is kind of getting this conversation. I know I get it. This conversation's a little bit. It's a little over our people's heads, and that's okay. And that's okay. I'm just going to tell you the technicals to this. Technically speaking, nobody here, nobody here in the West of African descent, by and large, came over here of their own free will or volition. Unless you came over and you emigrated as a African national. If you're here, African descent, if you're here through the transatlantic slave trade, which most of us are, then yes, you are actually a prisoner of war. You have just been a prisoner of war with certain privileges. That's why they always say it's a privilege to have what? A driver's license. It's a privilege to have what? A passport. It's a privilege for this and that because you are still a prisoner. Now, if you have that type of psychosis, okay, I mean, I'm praying for you. You'll figure it out eventually when they shut everything down that you have and belong to you because you thought that that was yours and you thought that you had it like that and you thought that you were a United States citizen and you thought all this until they tell you, nope, that was a lie. That was a con. It was a con. It was a scam. It was a game. Haha, you thought wrong. That's why they say privilege. Privilege. It's not a right, it's a privilege, right? They're even trying to say that for human rights. Human rights isn't a right, it's a privilege. Because why? Because technically speaking, as a prisoner of war, you don't have any human rights. You are a prisoner of war. And all of their conventions were created through Rome. You're a beast of burden. Well, why are they treating us as a slave? Why are we being treated like that? Because technically speaking, yes. Now all they're going to try to do, what they're trying to do is they're trying to absolve themselves of the human atrocities. Because why? Because what they're trying to do is they're trying to absolve themselves to where, man, I'm poor, but shoot, y'all trying to make us poorer because now we got to pay these reparations. Do you see how this goes? They're getting all the bad news. Some curses are reversing on them. I'm paying those reparations. Y'all paying those reparations. And France is running up on in there talking about how are we going to try help you work on this matter. And we do not pay reparations. États-Unis, United States of America, they pay. They pay reparations. You know what? It was a good idea. C'est une idée bonne pour moi, for me, to help you get the reparations. Stop pushing a narrative that is civil and not holy. What? That doesn't make any sense. I'm just explaining to you the truth. And yeah, sorry, we were bondmaids and bondmen and bond servants. You can read Deuteronomy chapter 28. I'm just saying, no man has redeemed us. I'm just saying. I listen, and I get it. I get it. This narrative is hard, but it's the truth. We weren't quote unquote redeemed. We were just given privileges. Look. You think that this was only going to get easier? No, this hurts. I know. Look, and please be patient with our people because this hurts. It does hurt when people are seeing the truth. Look, everything that we said, everything that we talked about, I'm just bringing you up that this article because I had said it. I said this. I said In less than a week. And I said, and I said this, I'm gonna give myself probably in less than 2 weeks, something's gonna happen. You're gonna see an article, you're gonna see this, you're gonna see that, and bam, there it was. The article. That article was right there, written right there. Oh, they're gonna do a conference the 17th through the 19th of June, right after the Pope's thing. It's all coordinated. That's what I was trying to tell you. It's being coordinated background. It's all coordinated in the background. You can see it. It's my day something, my days of emergency alert. Because why? Because this is emergency. These are emergency alerts. We're here in an economic war. This is the end of this economic war. So now all the legalese, it's here. And really it's in front of our faces now. Look, I'm just here to present it to you. You have a problem, that's between you and the Most High, because this is the Most High's doing. This is his work. He's doing an awesome job. He's doing a masterful work. He truly is. Because now a lot of it's look, it's not that we just don't see it coming. We know it's coming. We're looking at it coming, and now we're just preparing for when it hits in the background. Nobody here in the background just saying, "Well, I'm just going to sit here and I'm just going." Listen, you listen. This is why Yahusha said, "Look, the harvest is plenty. The harvest is plentiful, but literally the workers are few. Who's going to work in the harvest?" Yeah, I know. This is a little too hard for folks. I get it. I get it. Yeah. Well, Christ did set the captives free. So yes, spiritually we are set free. That is true. Physically, on paper, according to the state and according to the laws of international laws, we're still captive. We're still in the place of our captivity. Physical captivity. And don't get it twisted. Look, this captivity was one of the hardest captivities because now you're starting to see how what this is on our people. Don't get it twisted. They're in the background, 287 people. They're in the background, they're looking at this and they're loving this, and they're like, dang, we got these folks so spiritually messed up. We got these folks so mentally messed up. This is crazy. That's what they do. They sit here, they're looking, they're paying attention, they're trying to figure on out, man, how messed up are we? And I would say, yeah, we're still a pretty messed up people. Don't get it twisted. No, this 14th. No, it's not. It's not happening on June 19th, or it's not happening on Juneteenth. I'm saying that it's going to happen right after because they're saying late June, early July. So no, it is not happening Juneteenth. It's happening around that time frame because right after Juneteenth, they do this for a reason. Everything is to emotionally hype us on up. Everything is to emotionally throw us off. This is hard. It's hard to deal with emotions because we have carried between 400 to 500 years of this. This is why, look, we'll just have to come together. We'll have to come to ourselves. We'll have to remember ourselves when we're out of captivity. Man, did you know that they did this? Did you know that they did that? Did you realize that this has happened? Did you realize that? Look, I'm going to tell you this. We don't even know the extent to everything that they have programmed in us. That's the reality. You have to understand the reality is you don't know how programmed you are until you start to ask yourself, how programmed am I? I have to ask myself that every day. Sometimes when things don't feel comfortable, well, it does say it in the Most High's word. Well, it does say that here. It does say that there. Because the word is literally fighting what they have programmed into us. The Most High's word has literally deconstructed and deprogrammed what they have placed in us. That's it. Well, what about this? What about that? I can't answer this. I can't. Do you know that they couldn't answer what we were saying? We don't debate anymore. There's no debate. Okay, if we're not the people, how come now all of a sudden they're talking about reparations? Okay, if we're not the people, how come all of a sudden now the church is saying that they had a role in this, that they declared war? Look, do y'all not remember how the UA community was up in here big time trying to fight against, trying to say that's not the case. And then it was like, look, we're done with arguing. Because it's the Most High's will. Do you know that as soon as 2022 came about and Russia had invaded Ukraine, do you know that their argument changed? And then from there, they just continued to fall off the rails. Does anybody listen to anybody from anything from the UA community? I haven't heard from them. They're now having so much infighting within even the Eurocentric spaces. Is that Christ-like? Well, you can't tell me what Christ is. My Christ does this. My Christ does that. They're literally internally tearing each other up because of MAGA. They had all that energy for us. These folks are trying to figure out if Trump is the Antichrist or not. These folks are trying to figure out when they actually missed the rapture, according to them. We just left. We said, forget it. We left y'all alone. Forget it. Because it was really just a waste of time. Look, when you're dealing with the people whose conscience has been seared, just as Paul has said it, Their conscience was seared. Why even have a debate? Why even talk? Now what they're trying to do, they're trying to figure on out, are we going to survive this? That's their thought process. Are we going to survive? Man, we held these Negroes in derision. Man, we were talking all sorts of craziness and nasty stuff. We were getting death threats. Do you think that the global community is going to say, "Oh, perfect, they got a nice peace deal in place, and we'll just go back to business as normal and everything else"? Man, with the country that these folks they deleted the leaders' family. Y'all don't understand. When your family gets deleted, you on one. You're on a different level. You're on a different look. Nah, we're gonna go out. We're gonna either take them down or we're gonna go out. This peace deal to me it's been a farce. It's always gonna be a farce. Do you think that would happen with any of them? Oh well, I hope that this person is professional. Get out of here. Why are you trying to hold expectations, fake expectations, when you wouldn't even do it yourself? Get out of here with the hypocrisy. Because why? Because we've been given to a senseless nation. We've been in prison with senseless people. Oh, I think that they'll be more than willing. Hey, let's bygones be bygones. Sure. Sure, Trump. And I would say you do the same to your family that you did with me. You let me do the same to your family that you did to mine. That's we'll see. We'll see how that peace still lasts. Oh, the Ayatollah has conditions. What are these conditions? Sure, go ahead. Since obviously you have some sort of necropsy or some sort of your circulation's not good. Just go ahead and chop off your leg too while you're at it. You don't even hardly be walking anymore anyway. Go ahead and gouge your eye out while you're at it too. Pick out some family members. You owe me three. You owe three. Let's see if you can be professional. You can't do it, then we can't. I can't have a deal. We got to see how sincere you are. That's the ultimate okey doke. Hey, listen. You all want to be biblical? That's the Avenger of Blood right there. The messed up thing, Trump will be like, "Which family member do you want?" Oh, Melania. Okay, you can have Melania. Okay, that's gonna be a loss. That's that's doing me a favor because She kind of knows a little secrets about a little island. let me let me not give that administration any ideas. Who else you want? Oh, yep, you can get Pam Bondi. Who else? Yeah. Let me see who else was associated with me on that island. Oh, yeah, you can definitely get Bill Gates. Yeah. Oh, that's a door to my side. What you know, Donald? What we're trying to do, we're trying to make sure that we could safely reduce the population. I don't think that that's fair, Donald, if I'm the first one in this population reduction. I did come up with the plan overall, Donald. Do not give Trump any ideas. Yeah, okay. Oh, yeah, Musk. Okay, yeah, that sounds even better because I could take off his trillions for myself. I'm the first trillionaire president. Who else you want? Iran, make your wish list and I'll see what I can do. Oh, oh, yeah. Let me not give him any ideas. That's what he'll be coming back. He'll be coming out and saying some crazy stuff like that. Oh well, and just to make sure that we're sincere, I have identified a name of all U.S. citizens involved in this illegal war, and they will be summarily executed via Iran, just to show our initiative of peace and prosperity for everyone. Wait, Donald, this isn't part of the deal. Donald, you know I fixed those machines for you for your election. Donald. Ah! Well, Elon, you'll be the first one going to Mars. Enjoy as you become digitized for your new space trip. It's only right since we took four of your family members, we're going to give you 400 people that I don't like. Man. Trump will have a deletion list. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Sorry. This is also part of the Iranian peace framework. So I need to deliver your heads up on a silver platter right now today. Sorry, it's for the interest of national security. Man. Yeah, we'll definitely see. We'll definitely see how this thing looks in the next couple of days. Shoot, next couple of hours, because as soon as things turn off, then they have their morning press release, and then they have their mid time, and then their afternoon evening. So again, we shall see how things go. Yeah, tomorrow I'm going to open up the lines. And we're going to go from there. Thank you again, everybody, for tolerating me a little bit. Oh boy. Now if you start to see a lot of folks go missing, or you start to see the first quote unquote manned or unmanned crew, what happened to them? Yeah, these are all my list of people I want to go to infinity and beyond. Well, see, you have Elon. Well, yeah. So, I see. I just want to have the ability to travel, and I believe in my travel so much that I've volunteered myself to be the first on board. People like us are going to be saying, "Oh yeah, he got to lead it." That is digital Elon. That's Elon that is no longer on this side of the grave. Oh my goodness. Oh man, oh man. We have to do a lot of unprecedented things in the United States. I do have to say though, I am waiting on that with all this stuff going down, it is not coincidental. Not in the very least, not in the very stretch of the imagination, not coincidental at all. So I don't know. We shall see, family. All right, I got to get up on out of here. I got to get some things taken care of. Hallelujah. And with that said, Most High willing, will be back up and on here tomorrow, and we shall discuss and see what's transpired over the next 20, 24 hours. And again, when they say pace and security, what happens? We already know what the word says. So, with that said, be blessed, stay safe. If you'd like to support this channel, thank you all again for your support. These are my summer months, so I get a chance to spend a little bit more time with you all, which is a blessing. But this also does help to support things that is going on in the background. And your support, it does go a long way with helping to coordinate things to move the needle for our community. So it's not in vain. Thank you again, family, for your prayers and your support. It does mean a lot. Hallelujah. So with that said, most I will, and I'll be back on tomorrow. And with that, shalom, salama, siyemi, shalom, peace and blessings, Yasharel.